policy of the Greek government, which we all know well, is to bring out the exhibition to demonstrate the Greekness of the Macedonians, and that hits below the belt at the Macedonian people.
Angry voices of the Macedonians who claim the Greek government is meddling in Australia's internal affairs. This is Vox Populi, the voice of the people. In Vox Populi, a forum of people from Melbourne's Greek community vented their anger at an Australian request to drop the word Macedonia from the title of a Greek antiquities exhibition. Called Diggings from Ancient Macedonia, the exhibition is a gift from the Greek government to Australia for the bicentenary. Ancient Macedonia, claim the Greeks, is a region of modern Greece. They are offended that the Australian government was attempting to appease those who call themselves Macedonians. Well, in this program, those Macedonians have their say. At the center of the dispute is the question of recognition. They say Greece neither recognizes Macedonians nor their language. It divides them into Greek Macedonians and Slav Macedonians. The division, they say, is orchestrated here by a foreign country, Greece, something the Australian government should not tolerate.
Now, why don't they concentrate to bring archaeological discoveries in Greece, in the real Greece, from real Greek? You know, we'll be happy to see it. All of us, I mean, by saying we, the Australian citizens here, we will be happy to see the Greek culture here presented. Not, you know, why don't they organize a Greek Congress to prove the Greekness of Greek, not the Greekness of Macedonia? You can't prove, for example, why should Australia go to Europe to take an exhibition of archaeological discoveries from some other country, which they invited? If they invited another country, let's say a hypothetical example, why would they concentrate when Australia has its own archaeological discoveries, its own culture and everything to promote? Why should somebody go and promote a culture which they kill their guts out to tell the world that, you know, Macedonia doesn't exist? There's no Macedonia. We're here. Does that mean that the Australian government is foolish to film us here, that, you know, we are Macedonians here? Or does that mean that the whole world, which is, there are 20 universities in the world who teach Macedonian, you know, the Macedonian language is worldwide recognized. The United Nations sends brochures printed in Macedonian. Does that mean the whole world is foolish in recognizing Macedonian? There's only two countries, Greece and Bulgaria, who say Macedonia doesn't exist.
This Greek attack, or attack from certain circles of Greeks on our originality as a people, they're opening up wounds which will play into the hands of those people. If they see us at each other's throats, they will then be able to say, well, look, it's not working, you know, we should all tar them with the same brush. And in that way, it will not only be bad for us and the Greeks, if we give credence to these circles, by engaging in such, what can I say, ethnic warfare, it will be bad for all of multicultural Australia.
In this country of, if I may be allowed to be ironic, sarcastic, in this country of jingles and rhymes or sayings or whatever, I think we should all come up with a badge. Leave us alone. We're sick and tired of it.
I'm proud Macedonian. Australia completely, they should reject the archaeological findings to be represented in Australia. They can represent them like Macedonians, not like Greeks, because they are not Greeks, they are Macedonians. And the only one can stop that propaganda here in Australia is the Australian government, because they give them the right to bring this rubbish to this country and make disturbance between all nations. The only one is to stop that, the Australian government.
The intention behind this exhibition is to demonstrate the Greekness of Macedonia throughout history, not just the presence of Greek culture in ancient Macedonia. And that is the problem. If they said, we've got ancient Macedonian findings, Macedonian people come along and you can see them as equal partners, I think the Macedonians will go along and be proud of the fact that they went to an exhibition of ancient Macedonian findings. However, the policy of the Greek government, which we all know well, is to bring out the exhibition to demonstrate the Greekness of the Macedonians, and that hits below the belt at the Macedonian people.
А сега грчката влада, грчкиот government, исто прави на исти начин како што направи Хитлер со Jewish people што ги дестрои со ган, а па грчкиот government сака македонскиот народ by политика со политика да го дестрои.
Под страв македонскиот народ не смее ни овде оваа слободна земја да се искаже оно што е, бидејќи мисле еден ден да се врате назад во својата татковина кај што се роде и ќе биде многу лошо третиран од грчките власти. Толку можам да речем.
Турчина 500 години не газеше, не успеа да не поништи. Србите не газеа, не малтретира, не успеа да не поништат и бугарите, и грците сега се плашат од триумфот на македонците. Да бидеме само единствени, единството ќе не штити секогаш. Тоа, браќа, јас на сите го апелирам.
In 1925, it was soon after those League of Nations agreements where Greece signed them to respect human rights to all people in Greece who are not Greeks. Now, the Macedonian community, or minority, was one of them, which they were not Greeks. Then they printed a primer for the Macedonian children, and on that primer clearly is stated, printed in Athens by publishers Saicelariou 1925. That primer was all in Macedonian language. It was composed by 8 Greek professors. How the hell they got and found out how to compose a Macedonian language in 1925, and that primer, before it reached the Macedonian children, they burnt it, they organized their subversive groups in villages, pro-Bulgarian and others, to say this is not a Macedonian language. That was a slur on the best Greek professors, and that primer, which we call it abecedar, it was in the Latin script. They call it abecedar because A, B, C, D. The Greeks avoided to have it in the Cyrillic alphabet. Still, it was one of the greatest documents, and it is a document they could not deny, that the Macedonian language do exist, that it is there. The only thing, they have suppressed it, and they couldn't suppress it anymore because we are fighting for it, and we will use everything we have in Australia to fight it. And I would like to ask Mr. Hawke, when he comes with the Macedonians in Perth and Adelaide and Melbourne and Sydney, with the nice-looking girls dressed in Macedonian national dresses, dancing with them, does he dances with them only for votes, or he wants sincerely to support us? Oh, I don't mean he should not support the Greeks. He should treat us equals.
We came 12,000 miles to learn Macedonia, our own language, because that language was suppressed. In where I come from is a selo armensko. And we were suppressed, we were not allowed to speak Macedonian. And the whole thing is ironic. We came out of this lovely country, 12,000 miles, to be able to speak and communicate freely in our own Macedonian language.
The first Macedonian words that I heard were the words of my great-grandfather. He spoke to me in Macedonian. Now, he was born in 1876. He came from that era. He didn't come from the 1944. Now, people, you cannot teach a language, you cannot invent a language, you cannot create it. A language, to become a language, has to grow with the people, with their tradition, with their culture.
Јас имам мајка 92 години. Родена е на 1896 година. На 1896 година. Која таа кога дое Грција, таа беше чупа. И тоа она се мажила. И таа не знаеше грчки да преговори никако. И ден денеска да прашаш неа, таа грчки не знае. Одека ние? Одека тој јазик наш? Кога грците, кога ние грчки јазик, чера дојка наска? Друго, Тия селата наши кои тия ни прекрстија. Моето село се викаше Врбини, тие го прекрстија да се вели и тя. Лерин. Лерин се викаше Лерин по наше, па тие го прекрстија 26-та и 7 година во градова Флорида и таму једе се не знам шо. И одека ние ќе бидеме Грци. Ние кој што рекоа тоа понапред дека потурчино беме толку години и Турчина не успеа да не потурчи и да не мери верата и јазикот. Не Грко, Грко дојде вчера. Дека още имаме живи луѓе кои знаат од Грко дојде вчера, не е кој од кога дојде.
Во денешна Грција, ако таму јас како одев да зборувам во дуќаните во Лерин, луѓето требаше да ме викнат вака со прсто и да ми реча да се затскријат малце, затоа што ни вела ако лафиме ние отворено по македонски во Лерин денешен, дека некои ако слушни од полицијата или од шпиуните, дека тие ќе бидат малтретирани, тепани, дискриминирани и многу други работи ќе му се направи на ними, како што знаеме ние сите тука.
We want full recognition by the Australian government because they don't always support us, even though our language is recognised. It does appear in government brochures as the Macedonian language. We want the Australian government to also investigate such events as the exclusion of Macedonians from Greece, those who carry Australian passports who've declared themselves Macedonians abroad in Canada or in particular Australia, because that's the one that concerns the Australian government. We want them to investigate such things, and we do not want them to tolerate the anti-Macedonian lobby from the Greeks importing their propaganda into Australia and trying to suggest that there is more than one type of Macedonian. The Macedonians that we are concerned with are everywhere apparent in Australia. Perhaps they may not be as visible as the Greek community, but they're alive and well as the rest of them, and they're probably the third largest group in Australia, following the Italians and the Greeks.
Ама едно во денешна Австралија, во мултикултур Австралија, сакам да му изјавам на грчките, на грчкиот народ, на грчкото движение, дека ако тие сака да биде Австралија multi of culture и multiculturalism сака дека треба да не признаат и нас да бидеме уклучени во таа multi of culture of country. Друго, сакам да го замолам австралијанскиот government да не дава да се интерферува друг government од надвор да му наредва што треба да прави Австралија. А ги замолвам да не признаат и да бидеме признати како македонска посебна група.
I think it's important to point out that the division of the Macedonian people into Greek Macedonians and Slav Macedonians is a false distinction. Slav does not refer to any particular ethnic group. It's a family of groups, and therefore it's completely inappropriate to use it of the Macedonian people, just as you don't say Slav Russian, Slav Pole, etc. So we propose that that this particular move, that the Macedonian people be divided, should be completely rejected by the Australian government, and that the Macedonians are simply Macedonians who speak Macedonian, and the Greek people are Greeks who speak Greek.
Македонци славјански не може да има, ниту и грчки, има само едно. Македонски македонци.
И ние немаме ништо против грците, и самите грци го изјавија на Неоскозмос дека нашите деца и грчките деца растаат заедно и пријателски живеат и не треба грчката влада да се интерферува во Австралија, пошто ние сакаме да живееме мирно и со грците да соработуваме нашите деца и нивните.
And the Greek government does supply high schools with Greek pamphlets on the issue of Macedonia and how Macedonia is regarded as being Greek, because I started questioning this, and automatically a Greek student said to me, "Oh, you're not Macedonian, you're Greek. You know, Macedonians don't exist." And automatically he summoned a Greek aid teacher who worked at the school, who was bilingual in English and in Greek. She came over to me and gave me a booklet stamped with the title Greek Consular General of Melbourne, Education Department. And in it, it said, you know, Macedonians are Greeks, Macedonians does not exist, this and that, and so forth. And I honestly find that unfair, why the Greeks should be allowed to publish lies in high schools. It's not fair.
We as Macedonians, we respect all ethnic groups equally, even the Greeks. We've made a lot of friends with the Greeks here, for example, and we recognize them. You will never see one Macedonian fella go to a Greek and say, you don't exist, or your country, or your culture doesn't exist. We recognize. What we demand here from the Greeks, we're asking them to do the same to us, to recognize us and to respect us as Macedonians. The biggest thing that bothers me, whenever people ask me what nationality I am, I said Macedonian, and the Greeks always come to me and say, you Yugoslav Macedonian, or you Bulgarian, or you Greek Macedonian, do you speak Greek? Now, we don't do this type of things to them. Why should they put labels to us? If we choose to say we are Macedonians, they should expect that, respect that, as we do respect their point of view.
Maybe, just maybe, this conflict is not as big as it looks. Maybe there is a lack of communication between the two groups. Maybe they can get together to find some common ground. The ethnic press